Hello everyone. I'm happy to see you on our wonderful webinar with Noel. We have amazing topic. It's about navigating change, overcoming barriers and harnessing fear for personal and organizational growth. For me, it's really favorite topics because I believe that we all know how it's hard to go through changes, and we're looking for the best way how we can go in these changes in organizations, in personal growth. And for those who don't know me, I'm Jane Klymenko, and I'm a IT and business coach. I also help organizations and leaders, entrepreneurs help with their transformation. And today with me, Noel, I'm I'm always happy to meet people who have the same mission, the same views about if you want to do something, you want to figure out with something, it's not enough to have optimizational change. You need to go deep dive and do complex changes. So, Noel, few words about you. Happy to see you. How are you?
I'm very good. Can you hear me firstly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to try and speak a bit slowly because I'm from Ireland and then apparently Irish people speak a bit fast. So I'm going to try and speak it. It's our passion. We have a passion for life and a love of life, and we have a love of character, which is very, very important. Although I don't live in Ireland and I haven't lived there for a lot of years, I work internationally. My passion and my history is Irish, and I love it. So a bit about me. I've been working for 33 years in the field of anti and counterterrorism. And it's a very important field for me because it's about helping in my lifetime, before I get to the end of my life, and I'm a very optimistic person, is I want to know that while I was alive and while I was living, when I come to the last moments, I want to be able to feel that I have no regret, that I tried, I gave every inch of who I am and who I became through all the worry, all the fear to strive forward, keep moving forward, and know that in my life, I made some difference, even if it's to only one person's life. That's all that matters, because what we do in life echoes in eternity, as Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor, said of Rome. As long as we live, and this is the way to be. So I spent my time over the years learning about people. I've worked all over the world, in Singapore, Malaysia, South America, North Africa, and dealing with people who wish to harm other people. And on those journeys through dealing with these people on such a big subject as terrorism, it affects every part of the world and everyone's life. I learned quite a lot in some of the people that were the perpetrators and a lot about the victims. And having been a victim of crime myself at 9 years old, I had a shotgun stuck to my head by an armed robber when I was very young. So I grew up very, very fast as a victim of crime, and I wanted to help other people. And this is my journey. So what it is it's about studying people, what drives them to commit crime, what stops them from committing crime. And everything comes down to this, Jane, comes down to this. If people are angered, injured, wounded, intimidated, or ignored, they may rise up against the state or the people or whatever. So my quest was to understand this and try and make a difference. And through all this work, I realized as a mentor then I can actually help people in other ways. It's help them connect with fear, help them connect with lack, help them connect to help them grow. And that makes a substantial change in people's life.
Thank you, Noel. And today we will have a webinar for 1 hour. Guys, be really open, and we are ready to hear your questions. So please put in chat all your questions. Now you can check chat and put pluses, and it gives me a vision that you find it, you know where to put questions, and we will check. Amazing, thank you. I see your pluses. Uh, we will have some pauses. We will check your questions. We will answer on it, and please do not hesitate be involved in our discussion, it will be even a huge, huge plus. And we will have record of this webinar, and we will share it with you. And yeah, for now, I believe we are ready to go with our wonderful topic. So first of all, when we talk about changes, usually we face with some barriers, and people usually not like really on that point that yes, we are ready for change, we really want to go from our comfort zone. And Noel, from your perspective, I'm pretty sure that you face a lot with barriers, with bottlenecks in the way of how to do these changes, transformations, in both way, in individuals way, in organizational ways. So what would be the main barriers?
I think the main barriers to change are ourselves. It's not other people or organizational change. It's ourselves, first of all, that we really, really want to make a change. But can I first start out with the definition or define some sort of a definition for change? And the best one I can think of right now is, it's a great quotation. They say, the only thing we can depend on and the only thing we can quantify in life and the only thing we can be sure of is that everything is going to change. And if we can work from that position to know that if we're not changing, the world around us changing. I mean, everything about the human condition, our biology, our evolution has been about adapting to change. Humans are very much designed to keep moving. Our ancestors lived by moving and migrating from the seasons. But then what happened is people invented agriculture and people got lazy. They didn't need to change anymore. Here's the second problem. The human brain is programmed for comfort. It's what it's designed for. It's designed for the comfort zone. Oh, I really don't feel like going out and getting the yogurt and the milk in the shop today. Go back a couple of thousand years. It's if you don't move and you don't hunt or you don't fish or whatever, how are you going to survive? So what happens is our environment keeps sending us signals. You need to do something in your planning. And that is fear, the beautiful fear. Fear is the precursor to thinking. Fear and change equals preparation. And this is where everything around us is changing. If we're waiting for the world to come right around us and things to change to make everything perfect for us, to be brave, to step forward, we're failing in a huge way, because the fear is designed to puncture our reality quickly, either gradually or spontaneous equilibrium. Right now, we have to make decisions to do something because change is upon us, not us upon change. So therefore, if we think about this, if you're living a demand life, waiting for things around you to happen for you to have a good time, to be happy, to smile, you're going to fail. Dismally this life. But if you live a command life where you command yourself to say, listen, I'm scared. I'm really frightened. I can't see everything ahead of me. But I know I need to put myself in a position that I can make the best decision at this moment in this time to allow me to make the next decision from there as I go forward. The problem is people are trying to see the end before the beginning. And this is important, but we've got to understand the gap between where we want to go and where we are now. And it's to have that change, the ability to know that the change doesn't happen in 5 minutes or you get fed up in 10 minutes. It's, I want life-changing change. Why? Because life is changing all the time. How we manage this is the most crucial part of our existence, either in the company format, the organizational format, in the part of how we as a group, a family move forward, whatever. But remember this, and there's a wonderful quotation, it's very intellectual. They say, tribalism is the default setting for fear. When people are frightened, they become tribal. And when they become tribal, they become closed off. This is why we have to work very hard to make sure the human mind does not close off to fear. We have to embrace it and we have to prepare. So fear equals preparation. Preparation for what? Preparation for change, because everything is changing around us.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you, and want to add that it's also really a nice quotation. It's originally from China, if I'm not mistaken. I wish you do not live in the years when you need to change. But I'm not agree with that totally because yeah, I understand that it's hard when you live when it's changing to change when it's some changes in your organization, your country, but in other way you avoid a really beautiful way how you could develop yourself and how system can develop itself. And in this case, what I can see as a barriers, usually people do not understand why they need these changes. And if it's a complex system, if it's organization or some departments or some team or personal change, yes, people should understand why why the changes needed. And when they understand what pros they will receive, what value they will receive after they go through this change, if it would be more it gives more motivation for them to go in this change. Another thing, it's about urgency. If it's not urgent, people avoid. people,
That's what
yeah.
they want to sit and they want to take it easy. Again, that's the comfort zone. We don't need to do it today. Tomorrow's tomorrow. The next day is the next day. That's the challenge of organizational change. But that comes down to leadership. And if we look at this, it's the barriers, and the barriers is very important because this is so important because being a leader means embracing change all the time. And what's really important is that we can anticipate that change far ahead and prepare ourselves as a buffer and make the changes on the business levels, changing our verticals or pivoting where we need to, because everything is changing. Now, one of the biggest challenges with change is people want change only when there's a monetary reward. But when you want the biological reward for yourself, because we find out who we really are by being devoted to that change. So when we have the change on the good days, we're here, but when we're down here, how do we keep navigating that change to keep us going up and staying in that change? Then this is what I've experienced so many times in my life, even in the worst parts of my life. I don't give up. I will keep going with the change, and I get hammered down and I get hammered down and the storms batter me down, because that's leadership. You don't find us in tons of people together. It's ones, twos, and threes. It's a different type of life. But I know once I take the gloves off and go, right, here we go to life again. We're going to take this change. The amazing thing happens, Jane. It's like as if the universe, God, whatever you want that to be, it says, wow, this guy is getting really serious. He wants something. He wants to evolve. He wants to change. He or she wants a difference. They want a difference in their life, not just because my emotions are up today and I feel I need to change. No, I need a leveling up change. When you do that, don't be worried about the laws of attraction. Don't be worried about any of that. The universe says, wow, okay, I'm going to take my gloves off now and go, hey, everybody, whatever that is, this man, this woman wants a big change. Give it to them. Because that's part of how we evolve. We know we're going to face storms. And no matter what the storm is, you're getting battered left, battered right. Nobody can see why you're doing it. But when you can hang on, you will come to the light again. And you will know, I might have been wrong. I might have been right. But I know there's a consequence for failure. Very, very significant. But at least people know I stood up, I stayed on course, and I've come through that. And that is where our true value extends from. People looking from the value outside, but the value inside comes from that change and the forging of ourselves. And it's not a stoic approach, it's a realist approach.
Mm-hmm. And also want to add, if it's your personal habit or if it's part of the culture of organization, when change, it's normal. When you have continuous improvement policy, when you have this habit all the time looking for something that could have to value, good. It could be like a good habit, you know? Okay, how we could improve it? What we can do better? What else? How we can optimize system with the same resources? And I also see a comment from Alessa that usually in organizations, they especially don't understand why to change if everything works already perfectly. Fine from their point of view.
This is great. So this is the act of leadership. People don't understand why there's change. People don't like change. People say the only thing that likes change is a baby's nappy. It's the only thing that likes change. People are uncomfortable with change. They've been themselves for so long. I've always done this. This is always the way I've been. This is the way things are. This is the way it's going to be. I mean, so for example, I'm back in 30 degrees now. For the last 5 days, I've been in winter conditions, and now I'm back into summer again. So I'm changing all the time, and I have to plan. I got to prepare, traveling through the night, blah, 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 and I adapt all the time. Now, as a leader in an organization that leads organizational change, this is the key. Because to put it as best way as we can, in my opinion, managers have their eye on the ball. The processes, the people, the structure, the organization. The leader has their eye on the horizon. So the manager has the eye on the ball brilliantly, but that's just going to move it tactically in the moment. So the leader sees the outcome. So the manager has the eye on the ball, the leader has the eye on the horizon. Now here's the important part to help overcoming barriers. You've got to convince the management team, and the leadership has to convince the team why this change needs to happen. Why? Because the leader has the relationship with the outcome. He has a personal relationship, or she has a personal relationship with that outcome. Their job is to keep bringing the team and the ball closer in small steps to get to that outcome. Why? Because the leader are dealers in hope. It's very important. That's a Napoleonic statement. But really, what's really at stake here? When you have to take the organizational change, you're not going to be popular. That's the barriers usually internally, because they can't see what you see. So that is about bringing together a vision, a mission, breaking down to objectives that are simple for humans. They like simple things. The human brain is a very prehistoric thing. It likes simplicity. The human brain is designed to find shortcuts. That's what it's designed to do, to keep the human race alive. So let's use the brain for what it's designed for, to work with us on organizational change. So the leader gets the people to understand the vision, if it's new or it's fast or it's a new way. Vision, mission, objectives. 3 objectives a day. And what happens is when you break into that simplicity, guess what happens? When you're going to embrace that change starts to recognize you and start giving you new ideas, how you can become the market leader, how you can find new ways of generating innovation, but most important, innovation in your team. And this is the important part. When we're taking people on that road to the new vision, to the new location, to the new business, they will learn to respect you, one, because they're watching your face, they're watching your actions, they're watching your abilities. Are you living by what you preach? Are you turning up on time? Are you delivering that character? Why? Because as a business leader or an organization leader, you've got to think like a general. And what does a general do? It's very simple. The general makes the strategy, sees the outcome, and his or her job is very important. And it's simply this. The job is to find the right team for the right mission to help them make that change. It's about bringing the right teams together, the right departments, and getting to speak to each other. If you can do that, then you're going to win, and you're going to win big, because your job is to pivot quicker than your opposition. And what happens when you can pivot quicker than your opposition, you can see that change, you're going to be the winner. And last time I checked, the job of business is to actually make profits. You can only make profits if you're competitive, delivering and adding value. But what if your business, your organization has a bigger perspective and actually take your next generation of customers to the next level, because they see your overall vision. Mm-hmm. They can see it. And the exciting part, they're going to the ones that are going to deliver it. Give them the credit and say, hey, you helped us do this. This is why they hate me at the start, but they like me at the end because we're going to stick through and they're going to give them what this is and go, oh, I get it now. But people, they have two of these, they have one of these, they use these more than they use these. But what happens is in great organizations, people feel included in the vision. And this is where modern business makes the mistake. They don't communicate that vision to the whole company. They keep it insular. They only think a few years out. But when you can see the long-term strategy, and strategy is just the organization of resources for that vision, you are going to extraordinarily do great work. But it comes not at the organizational part first. As you quite rightly said, Jay, in our last conversation, it's the individual first in the leadership and management positions. When they make those changes first, then it filters down properly, and then it comes back up again.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I want to add, usually when I receive such kind of request about changes and that why we need to change something if everything works properly and ideally, there is thing, is it true or not? Because if you have this request, some other stakeholders are not happy with something. And it's about alignment, about different departments, about different stakeholders, owners, about C-level, about different levels in organization, even in inside of one person, it could be inner conflict. And if you have requests about change, in this case, it's not ideal. The process works not good. And in this case, if you have this topic in the air, it means that is it really true that everything works ideally? And in this case, I usually empower clients think about it, why this topic appear, why we talk about it, why we think that is it true, really ideally works now? Is it really nothing to change? And all the time we have some room for improvement. And how we can do this? And my favorite question is also about, okay, if you have all resources of this world, still nothing to change, still nothing to improve. And then it's also open some space for improvement. And I also see some comments from our chat. The difficulty appear when a leader decides to implement a huge change, but don't communicate to people the reason of the change. Yeah, I previously talked about it. How does it correlate with the mission, with strategy, and what actually will bring the change to them, to the management, and generally for the organization? I believe you previously covered this part. And the best way is to take people on board, make them feel they're important, they incorporate in design of the change. Sure, I agree. It could be a part of even culture, values of this organization, and also part of continuous improvement culture in the organization.
And I just had a bit there, Jane, as well. So if we think about what that just reinforces what I was speaking about, there's three important factors in everything we do: who, why, how. Sure. I think the who is important. The how is very important, but the why is the crucial factor. Because if we can now look at organizational change in a different way, if we can include our whole company to think like leaders, right, and they can understand the why, then what happens is you now have an organization that every stakeholder, including the staff, because they're stakeholders as well, all the team, they all get involved in that leadership because why? Remember I said about the leader having the outcome. So we see the end before the beginning and we create a relationship. What about if you have an organization so tuned into why, and we can get them all to be involved in that ideal of what it is we're trying to achieve? One organization, one vision, but many voices to achieve that mission and that vision with the execution of getting it done. Can you imagine This is why I love doing this work, because even with football and sport, we bring a team together, a group together, an organization, or on the global for like a minister, and we're getting them to understand that, to communicate that better. When we get that level of communication, what does it do? It releases that chemical in the brain. It's not dopamine, which is the addiction. It's that oxytocin and that release of the chemical of belonging. It releases that chemical in the brain where we go, wow, I'm part of something good. I'm part of something bigger than me. I'm part of something that's going to make a huge global change. Now, let's ask the question, what happens to organizations that don't do this? Well, people today are coming into business and work, and they're younger people. They want to be part of something life-changing. Let's look at all the big businesses that have gone down the tubes over the last couple of years. They didn't see change. They didn't see what's coming. They were too ingrained. Like, so for example, I work around the world and I say, look, I'm looking at what's happening here. We need to make a change at a policy or senior level. And they go, right, but when do we make the change? He said, we need to go to the board and ask them in 6 months, the next meeting. I went, you'll be finished by next week. If you don't take the action today, you won't be here next week. So when we examine the proximity of a conflict of interest or a conflict or a problem, or if we don't address the conflict within the organization to meet that change, we're going to struggle. And this is why the longevity of great organizations being around for hundreds of years, or like 100 years, 200, because they know, they think long term. In the West, they think 4 years out in connection with elections. In the East, they think long term. They think long term. And what does long term mean? It means turning up. I've just come to a friend of mine's office today, and I've been busy, and I have my team in, and we're trying to get onto Zoom. We don't normally use Zoom when we're getting there. And the team came in, they brought me tea, they brought me everything here. They stayed back to say hello. And I came into this group of people here, and I've done work with this company for organizational change, like months, year ago probably. And they all came in to give me a hug and say hello. They all waited. That's beautiful, because they know I'm here. I'm here to make something happen, and they want to be part. They don't want to miss something. And when we can have that element of passion from here, not just from here to calculating part of our strategy, when we can take people with us, it no longer feels like work. It feels you're contributing to something good. You will have people who won't want to be part of it, and that's okay. They've got to decide where they want to be in the organization, or if they have to want to leave, whatever. But when you can bring the right team with the right mission, and this is the critical part, from who we were to who we are now to who we're going to be. Wow. When you get that, that's when you sleep the sleep of a king or a queen, because you know your actions are speaking louder than your words, your vision, your trajectory. This is why sometimes when I do these sessions, I put a plan on the board and bring everybody. And I can't tell you how many times we've even brought people to clean the building, and they bring them in as well. And they go, why am I at a management meeting? Why am I at this? I usually just clean. I said, you're one of the most important people here. The building is nothing. You look after all this part. And sometimes even the cleaner has the answer that the managers don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, as military people, we're always designed to explain, I don't have all the answers. Arrogance makes you think you have all the answers, but sometimes someone in your team has those answers. And when you can implement, that's a good idea. They go, wow. That is where great organizational change, leadership, and management and evolution happens in great organizations. You don't have to micromanage them anymore, because they're all signed up to this vision. But you've got to get the vision right. You've got to get it perfect. As Einstein said, if you can't explain what you're doing in 15 words, you haven't a clue what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. It's about proper communication. It's about transparency. And what I'm usually faced with, that leaders act with their teams, with their departments as a child. Yes, like I'm adult, I'm not even adult, I'm your parent. Finance, it's about me. You just do your job. I do not give you all information that's necessary. You are not part of this discussion. You couldn't influence on these discussions, taking decision. And usually leaders talk a lot about, I wish my team can take more decision. I wish I can take care of less operational task and more about strategy. But in the end, leaders those who take this responsibility, do not share these responsibilities with their teams, departments, so on. And in this case are really important to take care of culture, of level of delegation, do not only tasks, but tools and power, and empower your people, empower your teams. And I also see commented and not forget about leader who announce the change should be a role model during the whole process of the change, for sure.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also see another question. It's more related, I believe, for personal change. What would be the best way to escape the comfort zone? Any specific tips to start gradually?
We have to associate the change with a bit of suffering. Okay? And there's a very famous man called Viktor Frankl, and he was in the concentration camps in the Holocaust. And he wrote this lovely quote, and it's so powerful. He says, when suffering has meaning, it's no longer suffering. There's a very important clue for us. We know that when we make change, is going to be suffering. Okay? So, like, I fast once a week for 24 hours, and I don't enjoy it, but I have to do it because it gives my mental clarity something very special. It keeps me very fit, and it helps me deal with injuries. I don't like it, but I have to do it. But when I've done it, I feel amazing energy. Well, here's the thing. If you want to make that change in a personal life, you've got to know that you're going to have emotional changes. There's two things we have to be very aware of, which is what we call feelings and emotions. Emotions are fleeting. They go up and down and up and down, but we only want to deal with them when we're on the up. But we have to learn to deal with them on the down. And this is where feelings comes in. We have to pay more attention to our feelings rather than our emotions, because that feeling allows us to go, something's not right. I believe everything we have to do is in our natural world. We have to fix ourselves on what we're made from. Walking, moving, talking, all those parts keep you moving. It helps you regulate those emotions and get you in touch with the feeling. And the feeling comes from our character. We have the character to change. Change is actually quite easy, but the problem is humans complicate it. It says if something looks, walks, and quacks, what is it I want to do? I want to be 5 pounds lighter. I want to have a new this, or I want a new car or something. All you have to do is have a personal mission statement. A personal mission statement. What is my vision? What do I want? What is my mission to do that? So the vision gives us the picture in our head. The mission is when we write it down. I want to do, like, for example, my mission in my life is to help navigate people to be the leaders they need in their own lives and the lives of others. So imagine that. If we can teach people to have self-leadership in their life, they can self-regulate, they can self-visualize and assign people up to their vision. Imagine what kind of amazing societies and communities we'll have, provided they're the right ideals and the right values. So what happens is when we start off on this journey for change, we know there's going to be changes to our plan, but our mission is clear. Then the tactics will change. They're just the tactics, the techniques, the tools, the thinking. They will come into play when we go into the down part of emotion. And the tactics is the timing we use those techniques. Like when I feel down, first thing I want to do is I want to put on a bit of music. I love that. I like my music. Certain pieces of music, certain speeches, I will self-regulate my thinking. I'll say, are you ready for this? This is going to shock you now. Are you ready? So when the emotions kick in and something's talking to me, you know the way the mind plays tricks on you. Oh, I don't think you should do this today. No, I don't think you should do this. So what I do is I visualize myself. This is a tool. Walking up the steps in a circular house, and I see myself looking out the window, thinking, dwelling on things. And I walk up behind myself and I go, no! And I go, I'm in charge here, not my emotions. We're doing this and we're going now. When you do that, it's so powerful because you're killing that part of the ego saying, you know, I want to stay warm here, I'm comfortable. Oh, you know, it forces you to level up. This is the direction we set. This is the storm. We're going to keep going because I know where my North Star is and I know where I'm going. The problem is people want change, they hear. They want to get there. But in the middle is 10, 15 years of going through self-help books, blah, 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 and they end up back here. Why? Because they didn't know where there is. So our jobs as people, what we do, Jane, is to help people identify that. When they get that right on a personal self, when they get it right on who they are, their confidence and their ability to be resilient, that they can get themselves out of a hole no matter where they find themselves. And the first thing is to stop digging further by thinking and ruminating, think, I need to get out of here. So I got my vision. I'm going to get out of here and be resilient, step out. And I'm going to identify that. If I don't do that, then if I do it, I can find the waypoints to get here. If not, I'm going to keep falling back into addiction or to an addictive mindset of the same pattern. How I think is how I act. How I act is how other people see me. How they see me is how they respond to me. And the self-judgment. We are capable. All we have to do is overcome our own bullshit to get where we want to be and to lead our organizations on there. And that's an emotional challenge, but it is a feelings decision. The feeling is what's real. The emotions are fleeting. That is it. But when you know what you want to do and you want to have an outcome, keep the relationship and be that leader. And my God, everyone will follow you to the ends of the earth. Why? Because you seem to have the answers. Everyone else just wants Netflix.
I'm going to add here, when I usually receive similar requests from entrepreneurs, leaders about how to escape from the comfort zone, I usually ask about questions. Like usually we act as we live forever. And I usually about, okay, let's imagine that it's only 1 year. And now you are in your comfort zone. You have only 1 year. What would be your focus? What you want to try? What you change? What would be in your focus? Are you continue to do that initiatives that you do now, or you will change it? And it's a thing that related to self changes. Yes, it could be also related for organization, because our organization also do not live forever. And in this case, okay, it's really existential question. Yes, when you face with death, you understand how to change your life now. And in this perspective, it's a really good way to have really clean mind about what is important now and what is not. What is important to do on the strategic level and what is from tactical perspective not necessary. And in this case, you will understand that your comfort zone, it's your limit now. It's your limitation. And you couldn't go on the way where you want to be because of your comfort zone. And then you feel that it's not anymore comfort zone. It's a zone which obligates you. Do not go where you want. And in this perspective, you reduce your motivation to stay here. And then you understand that it's a prison. Your comfort zone, it's a prison. And if you want to free up yourself, you need to expand your borders, expand your limits, and rely on what is important for you, and question what is important for you. It's for adult perspective. Question what you want, it's from child perspective. Question about what you must to do, it's from parent perspective. And when you reduce what you want and what you must, you will receive what is important. And in this perspective, your polar star, it's about, okay, what I want to do before death. Then my comfort zone, maybe it's my prison. What would be if I go out from it? And another thing, what is really important for me? And these things help you really check your comfort zone and understand that maybe. Maybe I need to change my life. Okay, and I see another things that if organization doesn't change timely, they lose the market share. Yes, it's also a question about urgency. And
Just for a second, Jane. So it's just a question that whoever said that, but the market, lose the market share.
okay.
Not just you're going to make a change. Here's what's at stake. You see, you said about when death, how long you have to live. And that's why I went silent there for a second, because in my line of work, I've been in that situation many times. And I've been in situations where it's about 3 minutes of life left because you're trapped and your brain is telling you today is your last day, you're going to die here. And this might seem very sudden, but I've been in this situation where I'm trapped and I can't move and I can't breathe. I'm in the dark and I'm just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And my life is going to end because I can't breathe. I'm literally trapped with my knee smashed into my chest and my head's crushed down and my team are looking for me to get me and I can't reach out to them. I can't breathe. Only because I can breathe and hold my breath for 4 minutes, that saved my life. But when that happens to you, you're going, and then the voice says to you, no, you're going to die here today. There's no way out. You're not going to get out of this one. And your brain accepts that. And suddenly your brain starts playing tricks on you, going, oh my God, and they see your life start flashing in front of you. It does. It really does. It's like, if I could explain this, a light comes on in your head and you're looking at moments and you go, shit, this is it. I can't get out. I can't even call for help because I'm trapped. And then something else kicks in. I'm telling you now, please, everyone listen to this. Something kicks into the human brain and goes, no, Jane, whoever's listening, you don't have a long time. But if you make a change right now and you believe and you move through this, you're going to live. And that's the bit. If you stop and listen to the first voice, that's your own bullshit. You're going to go, hey, this is the way it is. This is how it is. No, you don't listen to the second voice, which is saying, hey, what if I do this? You listen to the third voice, the higher self. And that's the one that says, no, if you shut your mouth, I'm saying to people, and you listen, our brain gets 70 to 90,000 bits of information a day coming from the external factors. If you separate all that crap and you listen to the 5% and you give yourself the space as a leader, as a time to listen and figure it out. That's the problem with leaders anymore. They don't get time to think anymore. The voice will speak to you and will tell you in that moment, because our brains are programmed to survive. We're designed for survival. We're designed to move. We're designed to figure shit out. It will tell you, like it did to me in that moment, what to do. And that moment, that message came in after I'm saying goodbye to all my family. And I said, I ain't dying here today. And I'll have to tell you, I'm not going to say it, but my words are a lot more colorful that day. And here I am today to tell that tale many, many times over. But I tell you this, if we're going to settle for a mundane life, if we're going to settle for the norm, what a wasted life. Listen, the people who say, okay, we'll lose our market share, which is important because you will, but most important, you're going to lose your reputation. And your reputation as a change agent, people respect you because you took a shot when everyone else sat back waiting for someone else to take the shot. There's an old saying again, everyone who wants change, everyone wants to handle. Who wants to lead that change, everyone looks around. I have seen that my whole life. So when you put your head above the parapet and you have that conviction of courage to know people are going to make fun of you, they're going to humiliate you, they're going to laugh at you, you're going to be judged. When you can take this and be resilient, that's what this is all about. When you have that courage, conviction, and you can show people, people will follow you to the ends of the earth. You can make big changes in this world, but the big change, as you rightly said, Jane, starts in you first, then the organization. That's where it comes. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry for bringing that up. That was my own, you just triggered me on something, and it triggered. I know what it's like to think you've got a long time. We don't. So I break it down like this, the simplicity. People say, oh, I have to go away in this task for 1 week. And I go, yep, it's 168 hours to go. What? You'll be back in 168 hours. They go, once a week. I went, yeah. About, that's a month. Yeah, that's 4 by 168 hours. Add that together. When you start looking at it like that, it changes the whole game. Bring it down to minutes. Bring it down to seconds. Wow, try that and wait and you see what happens to your planning.
Cool, cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I believe it's really valuable for me, for our participants, and I would say it's it's really existential topic because all the time when person faced with death, when organization faced with death, it's become more real. It's become more about life, and usually people avoiding living, and they think about, if I'm not living, I'm not gonna die, and their protection, how to exclude death from their life. But it's really tricky one. It's really a huge trap, and death and knowledge about death, it's a really big gift. And when you become closer to death, you understand.
When you feel alive.
Yeah, how valuable is life? You feel the life, and you know that it's limited, and you reduce the level of how you compare yourself with others. It's not important anymore. You reduce imposter syndrome because, like, I do my best. I live in my life. You reduce fears because now it's become like, okay, I will try this, let's see, and increase curiosity about things. And previous hypothesis which you checked, it's not about fails, it's about your experience. And then when you understand that it's your life, you have a chance to live it how you want, how is important for you. And you have only one chance to live your life. And then this understanding that you are really close to death.
Wisdom is what happens when our emotions don't hurt us anymore. That's a very important thing. Wisdom is what happens when our emotions don't hurt us anymore. So when we're working with people, I believe the greatest privilege in the world is to be able to lead people. It really is, you know, because like I teach the people I mentor, when you put your name on something, how much is that name worth? What are you actually doing by writing your senior? That's your value. That's your reputation. That's your risk factor. That's all those factors. When you sign your name on something, people will look at that name and say, that's a name to be remembered. That's a name with a reputation. Well, how do we get a reputation? Because we have character. Our character delivers us through fear. Well, a great friend of mine once said, a very good friend, he says, fear is the road to happiness. And I believe it's so true. And I live to that mantra. Not stupidly dealing with fear, doing stupid things. No, I do know I have to overcome factors. I know I have to overcome factors every day, but at least I know. And when I was in a recent seminar for 3 days recently, I said to one of the people at one of my seminars, I said, can I ask you a question? I know you in a different world. And they go, yeah. When you know, why are you here? And he says, because you're here. And I says, why would you come here? Because I've seen your name and I know you well. I know that person when he was going through a massive challenge. He was a leader of an organization and I was there. And it says, can I ask you a question? When you see my name, is that a name you can depend on? He went, absolutely. That's why I've traveled here. Number 2, do you trust when I say I'm going to do something? I'm going to do it? He says, absolutely. So he says, for all those reasons, I am here. Now, here's the problem. When we have those parts of us that are, and you'll know this from a psychological point of view, are shadows, which is a part of us we don't like, and people hide. I don't hide them. You get what you see. And you know me, that when I say something, you're going to get it exactly how it's meant to be. There's no smoke screens, there's no nothing. If it looks, walks, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So if we had more people that spoke from the perspective of truth, speaking from here rather than here, and we're able to be the strategists and the tacticians to allow us to make the move on the chessboard of life and business and do all these things and deliver our people so they can actually be involved in the evolution of the organization going forward. But people say going forward, no. We should be thinking of going up in reputation. Because when you go up in reputation and abilities in your business and organization, all the explosions down here don't hammer you anymore. You're no longer getting hit by all the problems. Your organization is here. This is all happening here. And you're just rising. And that comes with reputation. That comes with capability. It comes with credibility. It comes with intention. That's how we do an assessment. Are you capable? Are you credible? Do you have the intention to run an organization and lead it? That is the mastery of change agents in our world. And the old type of leadership and management of you being here, that department down there, you don't tell them what's happening, that's gone. I worked in an organization years ago as a lecturer in a college many years ago. I don't need to say it, but they had a thing called performance-related pay. It was interesting. I was bringing in thousands of students every year and teaching them. So my department was keeping this whole thing going. But then what happened was one day, my head of department, she got sick and sadly she passed away. She was an amazing leader, amazing woman. And straight away, each department tried to headhunt me to be in these departments. They were waiting for me to go to my car after work, speaking of joining their department. And I thought to myself, isn't it strange that we'll all work with the same organization, but each department is competing for scraps? That is terrible leadership. That is not a good organization to be with. So when you have that organizational leader who sees, feels, and knows and goes and shows the way, that's what people in this day and age want. They don't want autocratic regimes. They want people with shared ownership, shared values, same concepts, same boundaries. They want that. People want to be challenged, Jane. They want to be challenged in the organization. They want to feel part of something. And here's the scary part. When you get really good at this, the staff don't want to take days off anymore. They want to come to work because they're afraid they're going to miss something. That's extraordinary when you're like, is that it? Well, you were here for the last 6 days. You go, yeah, I want to work because I'm afraid I'll miss something. When you get into that range of work, man, this is just extraordinary because everyone wants to start expanding their own leadership skills and they want to feel safe to do that, to evolve around you because they come into you with ideas knowing they're not going to get handed down, they're going to come. And this is what's important in crisis management business. Somebody knows how to step up, and it always comes from the people you never expect. To step up and go, look, I'm going to make a decision here. I'm terrified, but you know what? I think this is what we have to do. Well, let's do it. Do we have the courage, or are we just going to fade away in regrets? Wow.
Agree. And I one of my favorite questions to clients when they back into this comment, if organization doesn't change timely, they lose market share. Yeah, and when people thinking about should I change or not, do we need to go in this transformation or not? Is it necessary? I usually ask, okay, what will you lose if you don't do this change? So usually people could think about advantages, what they receive with this transformation, but what they lose if they don't do what market options, possibilities, advantages, maybe competitors are near, and you could also lose your advantage. And in this case, when you have this two perspective, yeah, you can go, you couldn't go, you could skip it, for example, but yeah, what you lose. And this perspective also open other ways how you could figure out with these topics. And for now, I propose to have some summary about this topic. And what would be your top 3-5 recommendations of successful changes, transformations in organization or personals?
Well, number one, just was perfect what you got on the market share. But what people don't understand is they see things from a numerical and alphanumeric sequencing to understand our market as a computer. The actual word market means people. Everyone is the market. You know, people are the general population out there that buy your services or buy your value, whatever you have a value to them. But we got to remember that the market is changing all the time because people change all the time. People have different allegiances, they have different values. So what happens is you're not actually dealing. See, what happens is numbers scream, words speak, numbers scream. So what happens, the numbers are your market share. But what happens is you've got to stay in touch with those people at the market share. And how do we do that? Well, we go to a department which never gets much recognition, but also is very vital. Not just sales department that's speaking to the market all the time. Instead of telling them what they want, you've got to ask what they need. So that market's changing all the time. So number one is really start looking at your sales department and understanding across the organization who your market is. And remembering as well that your employees are the market also, because when they go home, they're going to talk about your company. They're going to tell everyone else all the bad stuff if there's bad stuff. They're not going to talk about the great stuff. So when you start looking at your market share as your own team as well, and your market and your team for the right mission, that's a winner straight away. Number two, defining what you or who you are as a leader, manager, that people can trust, and knowing that people come to you with their problems, they see you as a leader. If they're not coming to you with problems, you're not really a leader, you're a manager. But leadership and management are very similar, but there's also very big demarcation lines. Leaders are dealers in hope, as Napoleon said. You're correct. You've got to give people hope. When you give people, you make people feel great about who they are, they will always come to you to deliver you when you need that. And remember, as leaders and managers, we need our teams to back us up. When you are doing your job good, or you're doing your vocation good, and you're looking at respecting people, obviously we have to deal with issues of disciplinaries. You'll notice that your sickness level drops. You know your KPIs are starting to move in the direction. Don't just look at it as data. Look at people, the stories behind that data, and that will give you the clues. And number three, stop being dependent on computerized systems, because I'll tell you why. Those who hold data control the narrative. Those who control the narrative control the story. But where's your data coming from? You've got to ask yourself, where am I getting the information about my market from? And as leaders or organizations, that your team becomes leadership management with you, they then know how to replicate that and get that communication into the market and get that explained. Now, what does that do? It's the art of storytelling about your brand. It's about getting a chain reaction in your customer's brain, saying, I'm with them. I know what they're about. I know who they are. I know what their vision is. I know what their mission is. I want part of that. And when you can do those three factors, I think you're on the way to creating world-class, and most important, world-leading organizations that people can trust. Trust is everything.
I agree with you, and we'll add my top five. First of all, I want to start from the why. Yeah, why we need this change, and then this why should be really easy understandable, really transparent, and as a leader, you should take care of this information goes through all of levels, all people understanding, and they understand really why we need it.
Yeah.
It's about urgency. What would be circumstance if we do not do these changes?
Right.
And so we should be really clear and understanding what what we receive from these changes. And it's also about you as leader, you give vision. But how to do these changes? It's really important to involve people, and they will feel that they are related and they can influence on this change. And then they are helping you as a leader to do these changes with you, not against you. They do not put sticks in your wheels. Yes, you will be supported. And if we're talking about personal changes, even with organizational changes, it works the same. I like this phrase, winter is coming.
And I just add something to you there. Sorry, no, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's important all the time. Remember that you live not, you will die, and the organization will die, and there is sense how you will live this period. And when you remind yourself this, it's easier for you to be focused in on really important thing. And remember that your comfort zone, it's your prison. And you limit yourself to really live your fulfill of what is important for your life.
Thank you. I totally agree with you on that. And just one thing, there's somebody on this right now on this session who knows me very well, and this is a great individual who had major challenges. I don't need to mention the name, but he knows who they are. And they've come on here today, and I'm really pleased that they're here because I remember them at their worst. And I remember them at their absolute worst, but we never give up on them because these people go on to tell the greatest stories and have the greatest experiences. It's on there right now. And they will go on to do unbelievable work to help other people, to shine in their life. And what's really important, if I could have a fourth statement, is never give up on people who are desperately wanting a change in their own life. That's really important. And when you can have them in your team, they will never work against you. They will always work with you. And even in the worst times and the best times, when they've messed up, they can come to you and say, listen, I've messed up. That there is a great mark of the leadership, that the team can come and say, listen, I need some guidance. I know it's going to be secure. Number two, it's confidential. And three, can I get some wisdom? That's it. When you can achieve that level of leadership, you're coming into the role of mastery. And most important, it's about listening to everyone, listening more than you speak, and picking up all the information. As Nelson Mandela's father used to make him go to the sessions, his father was the chief. He'd sit in a cabin with people, he'd listen to everybody speak, and he would speak last. So there's so many different types of leadership, there's so many different ways, but it all comes back to one thing: having a relationship with that outcome and leading your organization from where we are to where it needs to go. And that's the key difference between a manager and a leader. Often they share the role, it's 2 in 1, but the manager still has to show everyone the why. Once you have the why, the how becomes easy. And I'll tell you why, because everyone contributes to the how to get you there.
And for now, if you could wish only one thing to our participants or people who will listen this webinar and record, what it would be?
I would wish that everyone listening would go home this evening, switch off all the distractions, rise above the noise of distraction, take a piece of paper and write out a mission for their life. A mission, which means a vision of their life. Write it out and then take that vision and break it down into objectives. That's it, 1, 2, 3. And every evening they write out 3 objectives for the next day. Because that's all we should be making, 3 good decisions a day. And if you can do that, I don't need to tell you what's going to happen next. You'll experience it.
From my perspective, I would say that after 15 years working in IT as a leader and having my 2 own IT companies, I wish you guys to listen your inner voice, because it's only one true, and listen it really, really carefully, and follow it, because only you knows what is better for you, and it gives you the best way how you can do your your own transformation in your system and your organization, and it never be wrong. And in this case, if you remember about you don't live in you're not living forever, it would be the best option that you can do. Focus on the most valuable things for you.
And that's how I've lived my life. All my life. You've just said that. That's it. That's how I live my life. That's how I've always lived it. It hasn't always been popular, but at least I know to this day, yes, I've made mistakes on the way, but I reevaluated and I went on a different way. And I always know you're going to get knocked right back onto that track. And it's funny because everything really does happen for a reason. We get shown, but are you patient enough to pay attention to the world around you and the world inside you? Most important, inside first. Go inside, don't be frightened. And I tell you what, it's an extraordinary life. And then even through the darkest times, a little light comes on and shows you the way. But you have to be ready to listen to it.
Mhm.
You will be guided.
I agree. And in these wonderful words, want to say that I really, really grateful and want to say thank you guys for your questions, for your comments, that you were with us this wonderful hour. Thank you, Noel, for your experience, for this amazing job that you do in your life, that for these amazing topics, for your perspective, how you live your life and um, how you feel, how people should live their life, and for your wonderful advices. I find it really, really valuable.
Thank you. And can I just say to you, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being a great light in the world. Okay? Point people away. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for everybody joining in. Thank you, Matt. It's great to hear you there. Thank you to all those great people. Take the time. Please re-listen to this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I even put a heart. Ta-da! Thank you, guys. See you around. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.